Don't let the cowboy hat fool you. This isn't Tennessee and this sure ain't Chet Atkins. This is my new friend, Rumen. And we brought you to Bulgaria, the place where country music never died. This may sound like Greek taverna music more than country to you, but that's because Bulgaria, a small mountainous country on the Black Sea, has Greece as a neighbour. Yugoslavia lies to the west, the Danube separates it from Romania in the north, and along with Greece in the south lies Turkey. Now, I'm not going to get academic here, but you've got to get a grip on the story of Bulgaria to understand why I've brought you here and why their music comes so directly from the heart. Now, the first thing to know is that they were under Turkish oppression for 500 years. Everyone here calls it the Turkish yoke. 500 years. It's beyond thinking. 500 years of repression of all their culture. Nothing written, not one thing. And whenever this repression of ideas and identity and words happens, they pass things down by word of mouth, just like they used to in country music. And things change from village to village, from region to region. Songs, stories, epics, everything is spoken, everything is sung. It's all carried by the voice, always the voice. And the greatest voices were always the women's.
Pred vaše porti. Tam si zagubih kuzumelenke, mednike kavali. Negili najde kuzumelenke, negili najde. Negi nameri doma, doma magi najde, najde gituri v šareni rakli pri mojte dari. Kuga gi vidiš kuzumelenke, kuga gi vidiš, za men si spomnej kuzumelenke, za men si spomnjaj.
Our first taste of Bulgarian hospitality is with the Varimetsov family. Kostadin Varimetsov is the king of the gaida, the Bulgarian bagpipes, and the queen of country, the Tami Wynette of Bulgaria, is Yanka Rupkina. The sound we hear when Bulgarian women sing has preserved this nation's identity through the centuries of oppression and slavery. Just as country music helped people through the hardships of America's early days, Bulgarian women kept the nation's spirit alive while their men went off to war. very heart of Bulgaria's identity beats strongest in this village in the mountains just south of the Balkans. Now, it took us about a week to get to pronounce it properly, but now it rolls off the tongue. It's Koprivstica. It was here in the middle of the 19th century that the Turkish yoke began to be loosened, letting the Bulgarian culture burst into flower. Now, the trouble is, the taste of cultural freedom was so sweet and so new that the Bulgarians hankered after political freedom. So here in Koprivstica, they plotted an uprising that was so viciously and ferociously crushed by the Turks that the whole world was shaken rigid. So 2 years later, the Russians came down and liberated the Bulgarians, ending the terrible 500 years. If you think you can hear bits of Irish, Arabic and Eastern sounds in this music, you're not far wrong. Over the years, this part of the world has been a crossroads for armies, traders and travellers, all bringing their musical influences with them and taking a few away. The Footwear Twins joined me on this trip, bringing some influences of our own to the Bulgarian country fans.
Will there be any yodeling in heaven? That is what I'd like to know. There can't be any wrong in just singing a song while I yodelay, 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 yodelay. Will there be any yodeling in heaven? Yea. The songs we love while I yodelay, yodelay, as I head for that last great roundup to meet that great ranger on high. In my heart there'll be a song as I greet that heavenly throne while I yodelay, 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 yodelay. Will there be any yodeling in heaven? Yea, will they play their harps for me and sing old time harmony while I yodelay, yodelay, I diddly yodelay, yodelay, yodelay.
Here in Gela, at over 5,000 feet, the highest village in the Rhodopes, there's a bagpipe player and a singer in every house. It's deep in the heart of Gaida country, and round these parts, Dafo Trendafilov, who's 70 years old, is known as the maestro. Right. Yeah.
Ето, ето.
For blowing it. Ah, right. So that blows the bag up and the air doesn't get back out. It's clever, isn't it? Yeah. And what we've got here. This is the chanter, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is the little reed. Yeah. Ah. So. Ah. Just a little bit of bamboo, it looks like something. While the women made singing their own, playing the instruments was definitely men's stuff, especially the gaida. It may surprise you that bagpipes are found all over the world and aren't just played at the Edinburgh Tattoo.
И Дафо, коя гайда е най-добра на света?
Родопската гайда, разбира се. Защото на нея се свири всичко. Всичко, както чухте сами.
А шотландска гайда?
Шотландската не ми харесва. Не.
Извинете.
Не може да се свири всичко на нея.
Извинете, аз съм шотландец, а?
Да. Нищо от това. По-добре да бехте родопчанин. Тогава ще да харесате повече нашата гайда.
Down in the valley below Duffo's house, there's a village, Shirokalaka, where they take their musical traditions very seriously. While masters of the past are commemorated in stone, children at a new school are learning to carry on the tradition. Duffo passes down his knowledge to a new generation. This is Nikolai Grivnin, one of his star pupils. The bagpipes are not the only international instrument in Bulgaria. In the mountains of the deep south, they play the Zurna, a loud, wild street instrument that came up through Turkey from India. Although it's primitive music, Zurna players aren't trapped in the past. The influences still keep on coming. Ivo Papasov was a Zurna player who changed to clarinet and does free improvisations over his native Bulgarian music. It may not sound like country music, but when Papasov's band plays at weddings or parties, it's a Balkan hoedown. To the Bulgarians, music is music, and they have no problem mixing traditional and modern.
Благодаря.
During the dark ages of the Turkish occupation, Bulgarian culture went underground. It fell to the church and places like the Rila monastery to keep it alive. This man, Atanas Volchev, lives a family tragedy. His daughter has run away from home. He sings out his grief, improvising straight from the heart. Just like country, Bulgarian music doesn't hold back and is never afraid to sing a sad song. We do like our harmonies close in country music, but they never get quite as dangerously close as they do down south in Macedonia. Bulgaria, families need very little excuse to come together and celebrate, sing and play, drink and dance. The Biserov Sisters lead the singing at the coming-of-age party for Lubimka's son, Manol. He's 17 and soon will throw away his school uniform and come back a man. Although these traditions come from way back, today they're just as much a part of life as the music. The Biserov sisters have the high lonesome sound of the mountain people of Macedonia. Like country, Bulgarian music has stayed in separate regions, and these strange harmonies haven't travelled out beyond the mountain peaks. It might look like we're making a meal of it, but in Bulgaria they like their food, enjoy their drink and love their singing. So why just do one when you can do them all at the same time? We were in the home of Stefka Marinska, a singer in the local choir who had two neighbours drop by for a sing-song. If you're making this much noise, it's better to have the neighbours in rather than have them banging on the ceiling.
Hey!
follows all the time, and then Stefka's singing, and
wonderful click,
the guy does singing behind.
Yeah, like a click. I suppose.
Very low.
Da.
Very low, yeah. Right down there. Go on.
Допопее. И сегашна.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
No. But I don't get the things. I don't get the.
That's the end of Rupkina. Give us a song.
All right, Hank. I'll go on then. All right. All right, Hank.
All right, thank you.
I was happy in my home in Alabama till I saw your smiling face one lonely night. When I fell into your arms, I was thrilled by your charms. In the get-acquainted waltz, you held me tight. You asked me for a waltz to get acquainted. Just for one and only one, I did agree. And I'm still regretting now that I made you keep the vow in the waltz to get acquainted with me. As I sit the next one out so broken-hearted, I can see the lucky girl I could have been. When her arms set you free, keep me in your memory till the get-acquainted waltz is played again.
Bravo.
So sad, so sad.
Bravo.
And that's it. They're all sad, aren't they? They're all sad.
Life's like that.
Life's like that.
Life's like that.
An half a tear.
Какого-то песен.
Bottle of Rupkina, yeah. There we go. We got into Bulgarian music so much that Yanka taught us a song. It's about George sitting in a doorway knitting a pair of socks. All the young women want to know who the socks are for, because whoever gets the socks gets George.
Седнало е Джоре дос, седнало е Джоре, ти лудо Джоре дос, ти си лудо Джоре. Ванка навъртите дос, ванка навъртите, ти лудо Джоре дос, ти си лудо Джоре. Шарен чора плете дос, шарен чора плете, ти лудо Джоре дос, ти си лудо Джоре. Komu će go dadeš dos, komu će go dadeš, ti ludo Đore dos, ti si ludo Đore.
Koi me mene saka dos, koi me mene saka. Ti ludo giore dos, ti si ludo giore. Nemu čego dadem dos, nemu čego dadem. Ti ludo giore dos, ti si ludo giore. Bravo.
This is the Thracian choir singing a modern arrangement of that song. There are no frontiers. Nowadays, Bulgarian country music gets everywhere, even San Francisco.
In 1965, and I remember it clearly until the day I die, I was standing in the home of Stuart Brotman, who was a bass player and a real keen in ethnomusicology enthusiast, was studying that at UCLA. And I went to his house. He said, "Oh, this Bulgarian music, you really got to hear this," because he was really into Central European stuff. And he put this record on, and it was that None Such record that has The Moon is Rising and Theodora is Dozing on it. And I heard this sound that just, I was riveted. I mean, I've had a very few musical experiences like that in my life, but I mean, I couldn't move. I was paralyzed, and it made me cry. It just was the most pure, intense, distilled musical experience I had ever had. It just, brought tears to my eyes immediately. And I didn't want to move. I didn't want to breathe. I didn't want to disturb the air around me. I didn't want to do anything that might stop that sound from coming out of the box, into my ears.
also an immense sadness about them, isn't there?
Well, those ones that talk about all those Turkish, you know, the struggles with the Turks and the beloved boy from the village that was killed by the Turks or tortured or what. I mean, it's just generation after generation after generation of distilled sadness. And it's, you know, it's weird to think of sweetness and sadness, but there is, but it's so sad. It just breaks your heart when you really, really listen to the pure vocal sound that they're making.
Now, some people really hate sad songs.
I love them.
Why do we love sad songs?
Because they make you triumph over that sad condition. You know, they help you rise above it. You know, if you can express it clearly and define it and analyze it in that musical exploration, you can beat it. Or you can beat it for a day, you know, and then you deal with the next day when it comes along.
Oh, the pain of loving you. Oh, the misery I go through. Never knowing what to do. Oh, the pain of loving you. You just can't stand.
bottom somewhere.